All right, gather around, everyone. Welcome to the Film Room. I am your head coach for today, and this right here is our Championship Masterclass Explainer. Today, we have one singular, absolute mission. We are going to completely conquer the 2028 essay topics for the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic 9680 exam. We're going to break down the examiner's defensive strategies, and by that I mean their heavily guarded marking rubrics, exactly like it's game tape. To really see how this plays out on the field, we're going to follow the exam performances of two-player archetypes we see every single season. First up, we have Alex. Now, Alex is a heavy defense player. Alex has completely, and I mean literally 100% memorized the vocabulary and the grammar rules. But Alex lacks that open-ended essay speed and adaptability when the prompt throws a complete curveball. On the other side of the field, we have Sam. Sam is our fast attacker. Brilliant ideas, incredible vocabulary, but sometimes, well, Sam suffers from really sloppy execution on those specific command words. So we're going to break down both of their plays, find the gaps, and show you exactly how to optimize your own performance. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Now this right here is our pre-game scouting report hook, and I need you to internalize this because it is the absolute truth of the Cambridge Arabic exams. The difference between a B and an A star often comes down to how well you understand the core methodologies. So many students out there, just like our player Alex, they honestly think that if they just memorize enough Arabic vocabulary, they are absolutely guaranteed a top grade. But guys, that is a fundamental misunderstanding of the game we're playing here. The examiners aren't just testing your Arabic translation skills, they are rigorously testing your analytical methodology. Methodology is the ultimate game changer. It is the playbook. And frankly, if you don't know the plays, you just can't score the points, no matter how fast you can run.
So, here is our strategic game plan for today's session. We've got 1. Pre-game scouting, focusing on core principles. 2. Breaking down the tape to look at methodology. 3. A halftime adjustment on evaluation. 4. An interactive drill workshop. And 5. Our championship recap. All right, let's kick things off right now with Section 1, Pre-game scouting report, core principles.
Okay, listen up. Before you write a single word of Arabic on exam day, you have to completely understand the stadium you are playing in. The 2028 syllabus topics, young people, urban and rural life, food and drink, equality of opportunity, and sport, these are not just isolated islands of vocabulary. No, they are interconnected arenas. The primary defensive strategy of the examiner is to test if you can transfer connected conceptual understanding to entirely unfamiliar contexts. They are actively going to test if you can take an established principle from one topic and seamlessly, effortlessly apply it to a new scenario. For instance, let's say Alex studies all the vocabulary for urban versus rural life, words for infrastructure, pollution, community isolation, the whole shebang. But then the examiner throws a prompt that asks how the lack of equality of opportunity in rural areas impacts sport participation for young people. Boom! They just took 4 different 2028 topics and smashed them into one single play. If you only study these topics in isolation, your defense completely collapses. You absolutely need that connected conceptual understanding.
So the absolutely crucial point here is figuring out how to break through that complex examiner defense. On the tape, we constantly see Alex get completely blocked right at this stage, literally staring at a multi-topic prompt and just freezing on the field. To prevent this from happening to you, there are 3 foundational pillars you must master to break through their line. Pillar number 1, precise definitions. You must be able to clearly and accurately define the core concepts of the prompt in high-level Arabic within your very first opening paragraph. Pillar number 2, causal relationships. You cannot just list random facts. You must actively show cause and effect. How does urban migration directly cause shifts in traditional food and drink habits? You have to show that link. And pillar number 3, cross-topic integration. Listen, the principal examiner reports explicitly state this. Candidates who actively reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. You have to weave the topics together if you want to score that A star.
Moving right along, let's get into Section 2, Breaking down the tape, the method mark strategy. Now, when our fast-attacking player Sam gets out onto the field, Sam just wants to sprint straight to the conclusion. Sam reads a prompt about young people in sport and immediately starts aggressively writing down an opinion without showing any of the analytical steps. This is a huge mistake. The absolute core of our offensive playbook is the method mark strategy. This means earning marks through the procedural process of systematic processing rather than just jumping to the final conclusion. The vast bulk of your points in the Cambridge 9680 exam are scored by showing clear working. The examiner literally wants to see your brain operating on the paper. They don't just care that you think rural life is quieter than urban life. They want to see the systematic procedural process of exactly how you evaluated the evidence to arrive at that specific conclusion. If Sam just writes the final answer, Sam only gets a tiny fraction of the points. You have to show the method, every single time.
To effectively rack up these method marks, you need to run a highly precise 4-step procedural framework. Step 1. Extract data. You aggressively deconstruct the stimulus materials and pull out the relevant facts, whether we're talking about food consumption trends or youth unemployment. Step 2. Select framework. Decide exactly how you are going to structure your Arabic essay right off the bat. Are you comparing and contrasting, or are you executing a chronological analysis? Step 3. Execute with notation. This means writing with a clear, logical progression, putting your analytical work right there on the page. And finally, Step 4. Present with terminology. Now this is absolutely crucial for Arabic. You must apply strict presentation conventions. Use the correct, formal register. Use the elevated syllabus vocabulary. Do not, under any circumstances, slip into colloquial dialects when formal terminology is strictly required. Run these 4 steps systematically, and you will rack up those method marks effortlessly.
All right, timeout. Section 3, halftime adjustment, focusing on critical analysis and evaluation. But real quick, before we draw up our next play in the locker room, if you want to stay at the absolutely top of the league table this exam season, you need to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams and enable all notifications right now. Okay, huddle back up. Let's get back into it.
We are at the half, folks, and let me tell you, this is exactly where championships are either won or lost. Let's look at the tape from the second quarter where both Alex and Sam hit a massive roadblock. The question on the board is the one that honestly terrifies students the most. How do we counter intricate evaluation prompts and critically assess evidence quality? The 2028 topics, they are dense. Imagine a prompt asking you to explicitly evaluate the claim that equality of opportunity in education has completely leveled the playing field for young people in urban versus rural environments. Wow, that is an incredibly intricate prompt. You can't just say, I agree or I disagree. You have to meticulously assess the quality of the implicit evidence. Both Alex and Sam struggled big time here on the tape. Alex played way too defensive, just vaguely describing rural and urban schools. Sam attacked way too fast, just blindly arguing, yes, it is completely equal. Both of them missed the A-star. We need to draw up a brand new tactical play.
So we need to run what I call the deconstruct, solve, evaluate play. Look at the difference here. A generic argument just lists basic facts, saying urban schools have better sports facilities. Okay, that's generic, it's fine, but it's not winning any trophies. But an evaluative execution, now this is top-tier gameplay, identifies limitations, checks for reasonableness, and looks at underlying assumptions. An evaluative argument says something like, while it is broadly assumed that urban schools offer better sporting opportunities, this perspective actually fails to account for the severe limitation of outdoor space in dense cities, offering an alternative interpretation that rural youth might actually have significantly greater access to certain outdoor sports. Do you see the difference there? It's huge. You are deconstructing the prompt, identifying the hidden assumptions made by the examiner, and offering smart, alternative interpretations using high-level Arabic. That is exactly how you counter a heavy prompt.
Now, to practically build this into an actual essay structure, you need to utilize this ultimate tabular matrix. Whether you are comparing food and drink habits between entirely different generations or evaluating equality of opportunity across genders, you absolutely must use this matrix. First, you need to use elevated comparative connectives in Arabic. Second, don't just list the differences, you must identify similarities and differences to show a mature, balanced analysis. Third, every single claim you make must have evidence support backing it up. And finally, you must conclude with relative importance, meaning you have to decide which factor is actually the most significant in the grand scheme. If you build your body paragraphs using this strict, disciplined structure, drawing justified, high-scoring conclusions honestly becomes an automatic, mechanical process.
All right, let's get you off the bench. Section 4, Interactive Drill Workshop, Live Training. It is time to get you all out onto the field for some live, high-intensity training. We've talked a lot about the theoretical framework. Now we are putting it into immediate, high-pressure practice. Drill 1 begins right now. Imagine a 60-second visual timer on the screen. This is your mental mandatory timeline the second you open that exam paper. First, read the prompt and identify the given information. Next, plan and strategically break the prompt into logical steps. Then, execute and solve it systematically. Finally, verify and rigorously check your arguments for reasonableness. Let's say you are looking at a trend about young people completely abandoning traditional food and drink. You have 60 seconds to identify that core data, plan out your comparative connectives, execute the method mark strategy, and then verify that your final conclusion actually makes logical sense within the specific Arabic cultural context you're writing about.
This rapid trend extraction is a mental muscle you absolutely must build. You read, you plan, you execute, you verify. Every single time.
Moving on to drill 2, we call this one Spot the Penalty. Listen to this major examiner alert. The classic mistake is providing generic answers not specific to the question context. Guys, this is a major foul on the field. If the prompt is specifically asking about the impact of modern sport on urban youth in a very specific region, and you just write a pre-memorized, highly generic essay about why daily exercise is generally good for human health, you just committed a massive technical error. You stepped completely out of bounds. The examiner will penalize you heavily for that. Your job as an elite candidate is to locate the exact context in the question and tether every single sentence of your essay directly back to that hyper-specific scenario.
Let's actually break down the principal examiner reports to see the specific penalties that consistently cost students their A-star. These are your top 3 red cards. Number 1, vague answers lacking specific details. Do not just vaguely say, food is different now. Say, the massive shift towards processed, imported food in urban centers has negatively impacted traditional agrarian economies. See? Specific, hard-hitting details. Number 2, forgetting format and presentation conventions. If you are asked to write a formal essay, you better use proper headings, distinct logical paragraphing, and the absolutely correct formal Arabic register. Formatting matters immensely to the examiners. Number 3, ignoring the specific scenario or context, exactly like we just practiced in the drill. You must link every single analytical point securely back to the hyper-specific scenario given to you on test day. If you can eliminate these 3 penalties from your game, your score is going to jump instantly.
And finally, the final whistle is approaching. Section 5, the championship recap.
So, our players on the tape today, Alex and Sam, they have taken the coaching, they've adjusted their gameplay, and they are now ready to string together fully optimized maximum mark answers. They have successfully merged Alex's heavy defensive vocabulary with Sam's fast-attacking ideas, and they've structured it all flawlessly within our analytical methodology. To lock this in for yourselves, we want to leave you with one final, incredibly powerful memory hack. Just remember, YUFES, UFES. This perfectly tracks all the 2028 topics. U is for young people, U is for urban and rural life, F is for food and drink, E is for equality of opportunity, and S is for sport. When you sit down in that intensely quiet exam hall, I want you to write YUFES right at the top of your planning page. Whenever you feel stuck or blocked, just look at it and ask yourself, hey, can I integrate another one of these factors to show high-level cross-topic integration? Wait, how does the sport aspect actually relate to the urban aspect here? This incredibly simple hack ensures that your professional analytical skills and appropriate terminology are consistently applied across the entire board.
Here is your ultimate game day preparation checklist. Print this out in your mind. These are your 3 absolute non-negotiable takeaways to secure victory. Number 1, master conceptual understanding. Do not learn these syllabus topics in isolation. You must learn how they interact, overlap, and collide with each other. Number 2, execute the method mark strategy. Show you're working, use the deconstruct, solve, evaluate playbook, and tangibly prove your analytical process on the page. Number 3, avoid generic, non-contextual answers at all costs. Be hyper-specific, use elevated Arabic terminology, and always ground your argument in the exact scenario provided by the examiner. If you do these 3 things, I promise you, you are playing at an A-star championship level.
So, I leave you with this. Which 2028 topic out of the UFES acronym are you going to conquer first? When you finally sit down in that exam hall, remember the Scout Report. They aren't just testing what vocabulary you know, they are heavily testing how you think. Are you going to let the examiner's complex defense block you, or are you going to flawlessly execute the methodology and take home the A-star? I want you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams. Click the notification bell and drop a comment right now with your current tier and your absolute goal grade. Stay focused, execute the game plan, and I will see you next time in the film room. Keep grinding.